I'm sorry. James just told you messed up my opening there. Hey, we're live. It almost played, Jamie. For those of you listening, these damn buttons is going to be the death of us. Hi, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Spotfest. This is JJ. That's Jamie. That's Austin. We are going to get you ready. We got a lot of wrestling to get into. This weekend is Royal Rumble weekend. We have live Dynamite. Jamie, Austin, how the hell are you guys?
I'm doing great. I'm gonna slide this mic to the side for a bit so everyone can see this awesome Austin Reddick Stash of Knowledge shirt that you fine gentlemen sent me. And because it's not black, as all wrestling shirts should be going forward, it's this nice John Cena color. I can pull the champ is here. At least for another couple of days.
At least for 3 more days. And then we'll see. So, Jamie, how you been? How you been, man?
We will see. I'm not too bad. We are officially on the precipice of sign pointing season. It is just a matter of days away, ladies and gentlemen. But no, I'm really good. I think we had a different type of Dynamite today, and we got some irons in the fire about possibly doing some interviews, which I'm really excited about, of people that we've not had on this show. So
yeah,
really
cool. we bought tickets to a wrestling show as well.
Sure as shit did.
Jamie and I are going. So Jamie was hitting me up because he's on the list. He's on the list for like the pre-sale for the tickets and all this stuff and everything, and for all these different places that we go to usually, right? So he's like, "Do you want to do front row at GCW?" I go, "How much are they?" He goes, "I have no idea. $60 to $100 and some dollars, depending on what past shows were." And I was like, "I have a limit somewhere in the middle of that, but yeah, let's go." And no, we got I thought a fairly good price. We're going front row, Austin, for GCW in March.
Nice. What a fantastic commentary on indie wrestling as a whole, that you could be told a front row ticket's probably in the $60 to $100 range, and it's not immediately no. It's I could probably do something in there. Like, yeah, it's rad that wrestling can command that kind of a ticket that isn't a WWE or an AEW or something like that.
Yeah. There's definitely a handful of promotions that, I find. I mean, there's a lot of promotions we like going to in general, but I think there's a handful of promotions out there that are definitely worth the money if you can make it, right? I think Triple L is definitely one of them just because of the uniqueness of the event. GCW is the biggest indie, I would say, out there. They put on nothing but just fantastic shows. AAW in Chicago is probably another one that's definitely worth the money, I would say. And what's the one? Premiere up in Oregon area. Is it Premiere?
Prestige.
Thank you. I always screw that up.
I would think PWG too. Yeah.
PWG. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Would you consider MLW?
I would not pay $60 to $100 to sit in the front row of MLW.
I would have 5 years ago.
I know. I definitely wouldn't for NWA.
No,
I don't think I've ever actually seen an MLW show. Like I know like Starks and MJF were there for a while. I saw some clips and stuff, but I don't think I've ever actually like sat down and watched their product. There's just too much other wrestling out there. Like I hope they do well. Like more people getting paid is always good, but I've just never sampled their offerings.
Well, that's like, do you want to watch MLW? Do you want to watch TNA, which is like MLW but much better with a better production value and bigger names?
It's a tough market, but I that's why I wish companies like MLW would pivot and find their own niche. Like NWA almost did that, and they're just run by a moron. But like they tapped into that very vintage vibe, which was cool. Lucha Underground was just crazy complex where anything could happen.
Loved
that was cool. Like, if you can find an identity, and that's what Lucha Libre Laughs does. There's live stand-up comedy or comedians commentating throughout the show. You got to find your niche and your, like, unique thing, and you can survive. And I don't know what an MLW does that you can't see elsewhere.
It's like kind of like NWA ish.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Like, I don't even want
maybe without the
NWA.
Coke spot, no cocaine spot. No,
That Coke spot though, that's my spot of the year of 2023. I'm sorry, that's it right.
I mean,
there.
it ruined a career. It ruined a TV deal right then and there.
Just obliterate. Lots of wrestling coming up. Lots of wrestling in March coming up. So we mentioned. So we're going to CGCW the next night. Austin is going to be in Triple L. We have. Glory Pro announced their what was it, Ultimate Warrior Cup or something? I can't remember what they call it. 2-night thing for the 16th and the 17th. Stacked card. Danhausen's going to be there. It's going to be a whole bunch of good stuff. And that same weekend is Wrestling Revolver has got a banger show going on in Iowa, which we might attend. We don't know yet. Week before that is our good friends over at Fountain City over here in Kansas City, who do keep announcing stuff, sort of. They're announcing names. They're not really announcing any matches yet, which I get, right? We're still, what?
Like almost 2 months out.
Weeks? Yeah, like 8 weeks out, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, they keep announcing names and they started to do some promos, so I'm excited to see. We'll get more into Fountain Pro probably sometime in February. We're gonna have a little chat see if we can't get some of the guys from Fountain Pro to pop on here. So be on the lookout. If you aren't already subscribed to us, you can hit the bell icon. You can be notified when we do go live, because we usually do our interviews with wrestlers, promoters, other people in the industry. We usually do those at a different time than our normal time. So hitting the bell definitely does let you know when we get those going. So
Who knows? Maybe we'll get one on live.
ooh,
Maybe we'll get a couple wrestlers. I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe we can get 2 wrestlers that are going to be on the show that maybe live in the same house that could possibly be on at the same time.
I mean, I can talk to the Howlets. I don't know if they're available.
You got it. That's exactly where I was going.
Nailed it.
I believe they will end up being on Fountain City. I actually haven't heard a lot of the roster yet. Like, I know some of the people, but they just recently announced Stormy Renee and Logan Knight, Only Friends. So good to see them getting some opportunities. They're Kansas.
Wait, that's
and
their
Oklahoma
tag team name is Only Friends?
Yeah.
That's
Only
fantastic.
Friends.
That's really good. That's really good.
It's solid. Looking forward to Fountain City. I imagine we're gonna get more matches announced as we get a bit closer to that.
Well, they have announced a few others. So previously they announced Gary J. They've announced Heidi Howitzer, of course. The main event's been announced, you know, Jay Fowler versus Camaro Jackson. Kenny Alfonso's been announced for being there as well. And Davey Vega has been announced as being there also. And then just today, we actually had our first promo. Jay Fowler has a manager. For those of you who are Journey Pro fans, those of you local here in Kansas City, remember the days of Kansas Hall. A yachting gentleman coming out to do your ring announcements. Oh, Captain, my Captain. He's back. He's back, guys. Jay Fowler.
Guthrie.
I'm so happy to see Captain Guthrie back. So, so they've been at some announcements here. Lots of local stuff, but, you know, more to come, like I said, probably in February. But once again, we'll get you guys up to date. So,
you know, they do have one other one that I do want to call out, because I was able to see it. You were not, JJ, but myself and my daughters were there. Ray Leone. He was at the HWC show, or HCW. Sorry, Heartland Championship Wrestling. My fault. Great show. Definitely go see it, ladies and gentlemen. But I got to see him firsthand, and like he spilled water on this lady, and she got all sorts of like legit piss. It was the best thing I've seen. Like, it was like I'm trying to get heat, and this lady lost her damn mind, like full Karen mode. Best thing I've ever seen. And yeah, like if he could get that, like it was almost the chair incident from Jeremy Wyatt level, but like like it was awesome. was amazing.
Yeah,
so I
Ray is great. If you got a show in your neck of the woods that the illustrious one Ray Leone is on, definitely go watch him wrestle. He used to be a shoot mixed martial artist, has stepped in the cage and actually thrown hands with other adult human beings.
Wow.
And then got into wrestling. He's a local Wichita guy. But yeah, huge addition to that roster.
Big fan.
I missed that one. Fantastic. So good stuff coming. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we're gonna happen. I know we're a little bit partial. Jamie and I, we know the people running this show, but still, I'm excited to see some good vibes coming out of Kansas City wrestling scene. So, let's go a little bit bigger, guys. Let's talk about Jamie. You want to talk about AEW maybe to start off with? Mix it up tonight.
Yeah, let's change it up a little bit because Dynamite just happened, and while it's fresh in everybody's mind, let's go ahead and dive into the wild world of Dynamite. What do you guys think?
Wild world is a good description. So tonight felt like, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, a lot happened, but a lot didn't really happen. There's a lot of content for not as much kind of like, it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It was a good wrestling show, but it was for as much stuff as they had packed into a 2-hour segment. It just kind of okay.
Yeah, it was another week of AEW TV, closer to their floor than their ceiling, but their floor is pretty high, and it's an enjoyable 2 hours of pro wrestling. You can't have every single week just being crazy and the greatest show you ever did. So this was a come down a bit, but still solid show. There were some fun matches. There's some story development. Can't really ask for much more. So, and we got to see Minoru Suzuki fight Edge on our TV in the year of our Lord 2024. We can get into that later, but they delivered that. So the rest of the show could have just been a hour and 40-minute Toni Storm promo, and it would have been a great night of TV.
Well, why don't we start with that, as a matter of fact? Is that cool? Is that cool, Jamie, instead of just going linear? Do you want to bounce around?
So if I may actually add a little bit in here, guys, sorry. I felt like tonight, to your point of not a whole lot, but a lot, it was AEW's playing chess tonight. I feel like that's probably the best way to put it.
Okay.
Moving pieces around, positioning, maybe going for like the Halloween gambit, something like that, not necessarily the Queen's Gambit, that's trademarked by Netflix, and we got stuff to talk about that there too. But yeah, like it definitely felt like there's some big pieces being moved. And to your point, one of the biggest pieces that happened was 100% that promo between the Virtuosa and Timeless Toni Storm.
Okay. Let's go with that. Let's start
that?
there. First of all,
Should I like that build up? Like
I did like the
over
build
like
up.
a mother.
I do want to just point out it wasn't 2 matches, but we got 2 full things of women on this show. There's 2 matches already announced for this Saturday. Trying to do some stuff for the women's division. So I'm just throwing that out there to start.
100%.
So let's talk about the Pleasentville promo.
You know what? Why don't you take it?
So sit down, and usually when they do these face-to-face sit-down interviews, and I don't mind mixing it up a little bit, but it seems like they always do the same thing, Austin, where it's a recorded thing in the back of the stage, and they do a quick little, 2-minute spot, and cool, right? That's fine, but I like that this was in person, right? So they bring out Deonna. There's Renee. Renee's out there. Renee Paquette brings out Deonna, brings out Timeless Toni Storm. They're sitting there, and then they go to the camera angle, and the left side of your TV screen is in black and white, and the right side is in color. And I'm like, I already love this more than anything else that happens tonight. Period. They pulled out Pleasentville IRL. I loved it.
Yeah.
Best lines. You go ahead.
I was say the split screen, half black and white, half color was just such a phenomenal touch, especially with them out there live. Like, obviously, that's easy to do on TV, but it just looks so much cooler when it's not a just pre-taped recording. Great touch to start the promo. I don't think they did Deonna any favors in this segment. I can see what they were trying to do, and it could have been done well. But one, when you have Toni do all of her shtick first, no one's really going to care about whatever the other person has to say.
No,
like you're getting too good too fast, and Deonna Purazzo is just not going to cut a promo that's going to be as entertaining as what Toni just did. And Deonna's promo was fine, but I think instead of just basically telling her, well, I'm just here to break every arm until I get to that title, which is fine motivation, but that's most of your roster just wants to beat the other people and win the championship. Like, you want to give us more. I think if this promo would have been Toni, because like I liked when they did the tattoo thing, like that's a cool, unique thing you can work in this story. I wish building up to that, it would have been Deonna just trying to talk some sense into Toni, and then finally telling her, look, you used to be cool. Now you're really weird, and I'm going to beat some sense into you because I love you, and I'm going to take that title along the way. It should have been more something like that. So it wasn't a good start to really get you behind Deonna in this feud.
Jamie?
You know, so first off and foremost, we are living in an amazing era of Toni Storm. Like, I just want to make sure I call that out every time we talk about Toni, because Toni is amazing, but she inadvertently buried Deonna without giving her the opportunity, in my opinion, because you started off hot with her, and Deonna's not exactly known for her promo work, you know, to match. You need to start with Deonna and then have Toni come in and clap it, and then you could have had Deonna come back, and it could have just been a nice back and forth, but it felt like it was all Toni all the time, and then I'm breaking arms, and I'm going to throw a shoe back at you because you threw a shoe at me. Like, that's kind of how I felt about it. I still loved it, and I'll still watch it again because of Toni effing Storm.
I personally, as a big Deonna Purrazzo fan, I feel like they're taking the wrong angle with her in general. And I know that eventually they'll get it corrected, right? But from her time in Impact TNA, right? Yes, she was more heel than face. That's neither here nor there. But her whole gimmick was kind of like the old Bret Hart gimmick back in the early 90s. Excellence of execution, right? I'm better than you. I'm just going to beat you because that's what I do, right? I have no feelings for you, right? It was this emotionless, I'm here to win machine, right? Kenny Omega, the belt collector, that sort of same thought, the cleaner gimmick, right? Along those lines. And I know that it makes sense on more levels than one to have the whole like friendship thing, right? You know, because they're legit friends in real life. Those tattoos aren't fake, right? It's an actual thing. Yeah, it's not the story you need, especially because you've taken Toni into this otherworldly place. It's almost like trying to pull her out of her gimmick to make this match, you know? And it doesn't do Deonna any service, and I don't think it does Toni any benefit either, because this is going to be a fantastic match when it happens at Revolution, probably, right? It's going to be a fantastic match. I feel like they're framing Deonna not in the best way, you know? She's not the best promo machine, especially as a face promo. It's just kind of, you know, that's what fell flat for me on it.
Also,
yeah, I think that pretty much just nails it right on the head. It doesn't give you a reason to care about Deonna. She was kind of just presented as the person that doesn't want Toni Storm to be cool, and that's not going to get you over as a babyface.
I mean, she's one of the most dominant women in wrestling for over the past 24 months, right? That people know that already. You don't have to like reintroduce her to the world, guys. Come on.
While we're talking about Deonna for a minute, I'm gonna steal Jamie's gimmick and I'm gonna play a little bit of Mark Stradamus. Way too early Revolution prediction. Serena Deeb comes out and costs Deonna that match.
Okay. That's not fair. That is not fair.
JJ like
Damn it.
Did I step on your hat gimmick?
So no. I legit was gonna say they just announced Serena Deeb's back, and somebody just made the claim that they are the best women's technical wrestler in the world, which she has every right to that claim.
Oh yeah.
Serena's pretty damn good too. She's the woman of 1,000 holds. Will this be finally the birth of the woman of 1,004 holds?
I sure hope so.
If they run that back and have her do a whole thing like yelling armbar like 5 times.
Number 4,
just a
armbar.
I don't know if Serena can pull that off though.
Well, no. Like Deonna would be the one doing the armbar thing because we got D Malenko. I mean, we got Serena Malenko.
Serena,
if this Toni Storm feud turns Deonna into some weird crazy character as well, I'm 100% here for it.
I'd like to see it. I want to see if she has the range for it. Not gonna lie, I want to see that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, he stole your thunder. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because I was like, because now she's back, and these two, like, hello, the excellence of execution, if you will. Like, I know somebody busted that out earlier. Those two would be perfect for that. All right, so let's move on. We did have a Hook sighting in the very beginning, after Joe came out to, celebrate and whatnot.
Anybody else find that extremely awkward?
Didn't care.
I appreciated that it was short.
I know. It's like he's trying to test the wall. It's kind of like the whole thing when they did the 4-pillar match, right? You got to throw it against the wall, see if it sticks, right? He's trying to see if make Hook a thing, and
you know what though? I'm actually thinking through it in real time. I'm gonna reverse course, and I'm gonna say this is actually very good character development for Joe. Because like Joe historically has been that character that's just looking for a fight and that would respect someone that stepped in there and fought him. And for Hook to come out and do the Blackpool Combat Club respect thing of, you beat me, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to get you down the road. And Joe just to be like, get out of my ring so I can look at the real challengers. Like, that's great heel work. So I'm reversing course. I actually love this.
Okay.
I mean, you are bringing up a good point there.
You just have to not focus on Hook.
Yeah. And then when Joe got on the mic,
commentary.
Oh, that was great. He's like, that kid. He's like, that. He's
a maniac. Who raised him?
Who raised him? Who raised him? Oh, you found out last week.
That's right there.
That was so good. But then right after that, we'll go right into the match I want to wrap up. We'll talk about our first match, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Baby Magnum TA. Yes, Heather, I got you. Or Magnum TA. Yeah, Magnum teacher assistant. It's even better. Going up against Pentagon Jr. I don't care what they try to call him. He's Pentagon Jr. Always and forever.
I just go with Penta. It's just always some version.
I keep it short.
Yeah, so Penta. I mean, would I be remiss in saying this is the match of the night if it wasn't for Adam Copeland and Minoru Suzuki?
I think it was the match of the night. Because that one
just gets...
I think it's the match of the night, period. Sorry.
So I think you're both right, and it just depends on what you consider the match of the night. This was the best in-ring match of the night, but Minoru Suzuki versus Adam Copeland had Minoru Suzuki versus Adam Copeland. This is like the old Simpsons gig of, but football in the groin had a football to the groin. There's nothing cooler than Edge and Minoru Suzuki just beating the shit out of each other for 12 minutes or so. So, like,
I get that.
You couldn't be wrong calling either match of the night.
Yeah, that was my thinking. Like, I love this match. It hit everything. This transformation that we're seeing out of Adam Hangman Page is captivating, to be honest. Like, I want, like, legit, I want to see what he does next. And he does it in a face way, but like he's, against the man type thing. It's like the working man champ, almost like a Dusty Rhodes style, thing he's going with the Magnum TA look. I 100% agree. He's got the Magnum TA look.
There's lots of strings here. You've got a little. I made mention before a little bit of that. Stone Cold in there. There's definitely some Austin kind of weaved in there. Maybe a smidge is a little bit of Terry Funk here and there, right? He's got little bits and influences there. Which, hey, for the longest time, what was the biggest knock about Adam Hangman Page? No character, right?
Couldn't
talk, no character. You can find ways around it. This is how you do it. And they've finally found that right chord, and they're stringing it and give it to me. It's great.
I think Adam Page just benefited from a few more years. I think a few years ago, he was just a little too young to look rugged enough to pull off what he's doing now.
Right.
And sometimes all it takes is a couple of years, just getting a little bit older, and you find that sweet spot. Because even if you look at a younger Steve Austin, when he was in WCW and was tearing it up, he still just didn't quite look like a star. A couple years later, shaves his head, grows a goatee, biggest star in the business. So sometimes it takes some actual like physical growth and not just getting jacked or getting bigger or anything, but sometimes for the character you are, it just doesn't work when you look a little too young to like really be taken seriously kicking ass. Now he looks like a man that's going to hit the ring and kick someone's ass, which he did a lot of tonight, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, like this match had everything. It had so many moves and counters and hard chops and holy shits. It's one of those. And Heather, actually, I do want to call it, Heather just put in the chat, he also benefited from Swerve. I completely agree with that because I feel like they rubbed each other. Like they both gave each other the rub. Like, because like Swerve hit it out, he wanted his spot because that's legit where Hanger was. But now both of them are right there, man. Like they both did themselves a favor with that feud, and it's not done, which is the best thing because you can always go back to it. And like just later tonight they have that little thing. Yeah,
you can't have Hall without Oates.
I mean, Hall's suing Oates, right?
Oh, they hate each other. They haven't been friends for like 25 years. But their music, though, you got to have both.
So I think the biggest thing that the Swerve feud did for Adam Page was made him look like he gave a shit. And not that he was like sleepwalking before or anything like that, but and from a character perspective, you got emotion out of him that you never got before. And sometimes when you get the right feud and you tap into that, then you just kind of know going forward how to really show that. And he seems way more fired up than he has in years or really ever. And fire is basically all you need out of a babyface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he never really he always seemed out of place with the Elite if he wasn't the drunken cowboy, like the whole drunken thing. Yeah. And even then, he was technically out of place, but he was just drinking to cover it up, right? They had a fantastic idea with the whole Dark Order angle. It was actually really predicated on Brody, right? That he was going to be Brody's champion eventually. That was the whole thing. And then Brody passed away, and they made a swerve, and it was good for nostalgia, but it wasn't the same. And after he got the title, it all fell. That whole relationship kind of fell apart because it didn't really fit either. So he's never really fit as anything. He's always meant to be a lone wolf, and he needed to find that way. And Swerve helped him find that way. Really, I mean, honestly. So I'm for it.
We were talking a little bit ago about he's got a little bit of Dusty Rhodes, a little bit of Stone Cold, and all that. I don't think so much in the character, but kind of as a character direction. I think they're putting a lot of early WCW Sting into what they're doing with him. Where Sting, he would have friends for a while, but they would always turn on him. Like no one really ever cared about Sting, and then he just kind of became that lone baby face that was just always going to do the right thing, no matter who was going to be with them or not. And that's kind of what we're seeing now with Adam Page, and it's why he's the most interesting he's been in a long time.
Question before I know we've dwelled on this match way longer than we probably should have, but that's okay. Question for both of you, then we can go forward if you want. Is Hangman the anchor long term for the company that we all put on MJF? Is it really Hangman?
Ooh.
I think it can easily be Hangman as it could be MJF. I think AEW would be best not to stay anchored by one guy.
Yep, I agree.
I like that there's so many people that could be your one top guy, but they don't stick with one guy for too long. It keeps the product feeling fresh. But I think Hangman can be basically what John Cena was in the WWE for a long time, and Hogan before him. Like that's your baby face. That's kind of the guy you're gauging the behavior of all these other people off of, like your guiding light. And I think Hangman he fills that role so well. So I think in that regard, he could be the guy you anchor it on, but not so much just like your number one top draw for years to come.
Okay, Jamie?
Yeah. I think, I agree. I think you have to have more than just one.
Sure. I think we all
So my thing is this. MJF is a much better heel than he was a face, right? Like we all can agree upon that.
Mm-hmm.
He was a cunning, witty, just bratty piece of shit. It was amazing. I loved it. He could be your anchor heel for time. He could be your Ric Flair, like legit. Like he could be that guy. But then on the other side of the coin is you need that top baby face. And yes, that I believe is Hanger. You can never turn Hanger heel. Like I just no. He stays face forever. Like until you guys are doing something crazy and then like a new formation of like an NWO. Like, and I'm talking a decade from now or something crazy. Like he is that guy, your champion, everybody's favorite. He's out there kissing hands and shaking babies. He's doing all of that, man. Like that is your guy. And then you have Swerve, who could be another solid anchor too. And then you got some of these younger guys. There could be a hot free agent from Japan that could easily be an anchor for years to come. And you always got Kenny, man. Kenny is an anchor now. And Kenny's not necessarily that old, but he's not young either. So I am game, 100% game on this. Right there.
Okay, I'm with you. And my take on that is kind of along the lines of the way you kind of finished there, Jamie, because if you look at what they have coming, and all that stuff, right? There's a lot of possibility there. Takeshita, Ricky Starks, if Jungle Boy ever comes back into the fold, right? Darby Allin sells 1 million t-shirts and all the girls love him, right? You've got a lot of guys who could be one of the guys potentially, but the reality is just like, the John Cena days, right? The whole PG era, you take it back to, before that, you go into the Raw, any of those, you always had that solid core of like 4 guys, right? Those are your solid anchors, right? WWE for the longest time had Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, and The Undertaker, right? Those were your pillars, if you want to put them up there, if you want to use that overplayed term, right? I think he's definitely up there on that. I agree with the babyface stuff. I think that, MJF, and Heather made a very good point too as well, which is kind of what my thought was why I asked this question. Hanger has having so much of these interwoven, pieces of influence there. I think that leads to him being a much more sustainable top guy long term, right? Stone Cold people are going to be like, he reminds me a little bit of Stone Cold. You know, Dusty people are going to be like, he reminds me of Dusty. You know, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. MJF is MJF, right? And Ric Flair is probably the closest comparison to him there, I would say, character-wise, probably. I think he can be that. But then again, he can also wave and wean and go up and down. Whereas I think Hangman, I would put Hangman as your guy, right? That's the guy you want to have on the front of your video game, on the top of your poster for the long haul.
Either him or Action Andretti.
Austin Reddick's favorite AEW wrestler.
My running bit. I got to fit Action Andretti into everything I can. He can drink water really fast, guys.
So we have hanging on top of the promo. He could even be the main guy on the poster of the pay-per-view, and Ruby Soho, Ruby finally wins the championship. So let's go.
Hey man, just fire up, fight forever whenever you want. Ruby can win a title.
Yeah, it's the only way. Only way. All right, so hey, you know, truth hurts, man. Truth hurts.
I think it makes Ruby a more interesting character.
I agree.
She never actually wins it.
I legit think, honest to God, taking my proclivities aside, I think she will win it. I think it's going to be very similar to how Christopher Daniels won back in old RH. Christopher Daniels won the RH title, one of those like at the end of his kind of run sort of thing. I think she'll have that moment, right? The Kofi moment, right? Where he finally gets like a moment. It might last a month, but still, I think she'll win a title.
You mean kind of like when you won the title that one time?
Okay, all right. I'm muting you now. All right. I muted you both. You can keep talking. Nobody on the internet is hearing either one of you right now. They're hearing just me. Hi, this is Total Spotfest with JJ Brownlee. My co-hosts are just bullies. And I want to take this time to tell you about the importance of not bullying those on the internet. Okay? Don't do it. All right, you guys are back. You can talk now. Let's go.
I do think,
Heather, you're not wrong.
I do think there's a slight chance Ruby could win the Ring of Honor Women's title.
That counts.
Or at least the Ring of Honor Women's TV title. Because they like to kick main roster folks are not using over there for a women's run.
Well, they are using her. I mean, she's on Rampage every week pretty much. She's got another match against Anna Jay this Friday, so there's that. It's all cyclical.
That's exciting.
Whatever.
All right, so we'll run through this real quick. Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong is talking about that's 6 weeks away, whatever, and he's gonna defend his title every week. It's fine. Okay. Then you had the Bucks asked about their plans. I don't care. Like, I'm sorry.
You don't care at all about the Bucks anymore. It just doesn't even ring a...
Like, this is just boring to me. Like, they came back to little to no fanfare. And it's just like, I get they're being heels and they're like trying to be corporate heels, I guess. Like, they're trying to make their variation of the corporation, which they're not serious enough. Does that make sense?
But that's very young Bucky of them.
This is actually some of the most entertaining I've ever found the Bucks, which their matches have always been fun to watch, but I like shitty middle management Bucks.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to give this time to develop because it could get bad. Like, I don't want to see a full-on McMahon-Helmsley regime. We're just wielding our power to do whatever we want for us. I want to see them with fairly limited power as EVPs where they can just kind of be dicks to people and make some like minor calls, boss some people around a bit, but they're largely like overstating the power they have. I think that makes them very interesting heel characters.
It's all shtick. It's the whole thing. Their power is all the shtick, right? You know, that's very much in their realm. You know, is that they're just looking to be, you know, to taking something that happened in real life and making it a big joke to them. I'm for it. You know, make sure you call them by their passport names though from now on.
Passport names. Yeah, like the thing is, I don't care. I just don't care. But I could care. Like it's one of those things. Like right now, I'm just like, this is so dumb. I don't give a shit. Like let's just move on. I want to see some wrestling. But like they could make it into a thing. Like if they do it right.
It's just like Jungle Boy man Jack Perry. Like you just got to give it some time in the right direction and it'll grow on you.
And they're not really giving it a lot of TV time. They're letting it, not really. We know they're probably going to face Sting at Revolution, but we don't really know what direction they're going with this Young Bucks thing, and that's good. So let it percolate, Jamie. We'll see. Let's revisit it in a few months.
Okay. Can we just go ahead and visit War Daddy versus Trent Beretta?
Had your 3 top challengers for the AEW title tonight, including War Daddy.
Yep. Yeah, War Daddy.
It was a match.
It was a match.
I thought for a second there they're going to do something different with a War Daddy match. Not
nope.
really.
Even poor Trent, who's been on a roll. Trent Beretta deserved better.
I'd say this. You could put Rocky Romero out there because you could bury Rocky more than you could Trent. I mean, come on.
He's been on a roll.
If you really want to get Wardlow heat, he should have been beating the shit out of Danhausen.
Yes.
That's what would get them to actually care and boo. Like Trent, everyone likes Trent, but people don't love Trent. Like,
and this
great
is kind of Trent's gimmick.
Good matches.
His gimmick is always losing eventually, right?
Yeah. Like, we know he can put on good matches and he gets beat by pretty much anyone with any momentum, and that's fine. But you don't care. You're not really feeling too bad for Trent because you've seen him take that ass beating every time. You see Danhausen get like 8 power bombs, you are legitimately concerned for that man's life. That's Magic Pro Wrestling. Not that I want to see Danhausen die because Danhausen's great, but that would get heat.
I mean, Danhausen's Danhausen.
So
he's Danhausen.
I mean, they're definitely putting him somewhere in this picture. We don't know where. I did like the fact that they're bringing back the rankings, and they made it very clear they're bringing back the rankings throughout the night. But then they clarified about halfway through that the rankings are going to be released at the end of the month. So I'm like, cool, I dig that. I want to see him do the rankings. I said this a few weeks ago to you guys, right? I want to see him do the rankings, but I want to see them do it in a way that actually matters instead of just having them and then not really paying attention to them,
Yeah.
So,
it hasn't even been that long, but I've already forgot. Did it used to be weekly they would release them?
Yeah, every Wednesday they'd have a little skit where they'd.
So I think they should go to updating you can keep the win-loss records as a running total, obviously, but update your rankings once a month. Like, give it some time for some things to happen before you're really worried about reorganizing all these people. And it kind of gives you a fresh place to start some new stories at reliable interviews or intervals every 4 to 5 weeks. Because I think when you update the rankings weekly, you're not as excited about them because you just see them all the time. Whereas you can make it more special doing it once a month, and you take the totality of everything that happened in that month, not just what match they had last week. It's probably a little more interesting that way.
I like that. I also like not doing just straight wins-loss, right? Like take it, not what your standing is in the, your division in the NFL, but what your AP ranking is in college, right? So there's a little bit of weight going on to it, because then you don't have to be bound by, well, this person's 7-1, so they have to get a title shot, sort of thing, right?
Yeah. It makes it more interesting and entertaining. And then it also makes people like us that get on the internet and talk about it after the show, if they released it once a month and there was like some potential controversy not to be real controversy, but you could actually discuss the rankings a bit. Week to week, who cares? They'll pin someone in a squash match and move back up. Like, it doesn't matter, but monthly would be just way more entertaining.
Do you agree with that, Jamie? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then you all know the reason they're gone. Hopefully everybody does.
Charles Montavious Punk.
No.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Cornelius multi-pass Punk.
Oh, sorry. I had the wrong Punk. I'm sorry.
It's a multi-pass.
While that might have been him, it was probably for the best. Like having them go away and then bringing them back and hopefully refreshing them a bit is probably better than just keeping them going with no real point.
Yeah, you can learn from your mistake.
Yeah. After this, like obviously we had the Toni Storm thing, which we already dove right into, which was again, love Toni. We had a very passionate, very very passionate Moxley promo about just beating the shit out of people who aren't with the program.
So Mox, I loved it.
Like so much was said and so much wasn't said, and it was perfect.
It gave you some Mox without Mox having to actually be there wrestling. I mean, he will later tonight because he's advertised for Rampage, but it's good character work. Like, cool. Now we're reminded that Jon Moxley might just show up and beat up anybody at any time, and like we would like to see that. So cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Fair reminders. This is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. FYI,
You don't even have to say right now. Like he is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's not afraid to do shit in the ring. Like legit. Like you want to do it? I'm down. Like he's just after okay.
I would say really quick, if they're going the obvious path of Joe, Page, and Swerve at Revolution, I actually wouldn't mind them seeing, if you're already going 3, work Mox in there, because that would be a hell of a 4-way. That would be wild.
Everybody would need to change their draws afterwards.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, my God, that would get crazy.
It's rare that like adding more to a multi-man match would make it that much better. And that triple threat on its own right would be phenomenal. But there's something about Mox brings such a different element to everyone else's styles, but he's still kind of similar to Joe that would just be batshit crazy.
Right. Plus, like we said before, Mox can wrestle any style, right? He'll go from having like a street fight, the next week he's fighting fucking Commodore out there, right? Making Commodore look good. Yeah.
So
argument there.
There is a promo that happened after this next match by Swerve Strickland when he got face to face with Hanger, right? And the other talk about how Hanger's undefeated for 2024, and then here comes Swerve, doing his things. Well, I'm undefeated for 2024. Who's the last person you lost to? And obviously Swerve beat Hanger in that amazing Texas death match. And the last person that Swerve lost to, Jon Moxley. Perfect. Like that failed a 4-way. Like that, I mean, that's some buys. Like it's already got some buys now, just the thought of it, but that'll make some serious buys.
And you've still got the better part of 6 weeks to lead up to Revolution or whatever it is. You've got plenty of time.
Whatever, right?
You could build up to a triple threat between Mox, Swerve, and Hanger to determine the number 1 contender. And then, because this would totally be in character for Joe, have Joe come out in the middle and just attack all of them and stand tall with the title and say, bring all 3 of them at Revolution. I don't care. That's just fun, entertaining pro wrestling.
Bet. Well, that's a fantastic trip to Fantasy Booking Island. Let's see where they go with that.
Yeah. All right. So after that, you had Swerve beating up an old man.
You had a Taya Valkyrie sighting.
Oh, yeah. The Taya and Johnny TV.
I'm glad they put them together on TV as well. They're so good together.
So Taya's going to take on the Virtuosa next week. So we do get another Taya Valkyrie sighting on AEW Dynamite against a former foe in TNA. So that should be a good one to watch. I've not seen any
of their matchups. Go to TNA's YouTube channel after you're done with this. Watch some of them. Trust me, they're good. They're really good.
Taya slept on, dude. I don't understand why she is not.
I don't know why she doesn't
in
get
some kind of title picture. She deserves it. All right, so Swerve beat up an old man. I'm sorry, just old. It looked good though. I mean, actually, Swerve did a great job with what he had. I'll just put it that way. in my opinion.
So, first of all, from this match, I can't remember who it was, but I saw somebody on Twitter tweet out, Jeff Hardy also swerves when he drives. And that was one of the funniest things I have seen on the internet in quite some time.
Come on, Twitter. Come on. A little decorum here, guys. Jesus.
No, Twitter, keep on keeping on Twitter. Don't be toxic. God. Just be wrong.
That's top shelf dark humor right there.
That's very good. I support
it.
The only thing I really, for what it was, listen, it was much better than I anticipated it being because Jeff is old and he's definitely not going to be able to walk when he's 70. They seem to be doing this whole like dark turn, one final run for the Hardys as like, Broken Matt and Brother Nero or something, because he's doing heel stuff and, Matt's interfering or he's kind of distracting him in like a heely way. I don't know. I don't get it. It's just like, I hate to say it like this because I do love me some Hardys, right? I do love the broken gimmick, especially, right? But come on, brothers, it's time. Put that dog out to pasture. Let's let it go. It's fine.
Yeah, like Jeff just can't do it at the level you would want him to anymore.
No.
And he wasn't terrible in this match. Swerve was out there doing the Lord's work. Just a masterclass in pro wrestling ability to slow down your pace to let your opponent keep up. The transition when he did his little thing where he rolls off his back and rolls him up into the suplex position, he paced that, like immediately recognized Jeff was not getting up fast. Like paced perfectly, looked fine, still hit the move. But if you've got one of the best wrestlers in the world, like holding you by the hand and you still just look kind of slow, like it's time to stop. It's not good anymore.
I mean, your body's been through what's been through in the ring alone, right? Hey, it's okay. Sometimes can't do the things you used to do. That's fine. Move on.
Yeah, he's the opposite of R. Kelly's bump and grind. Like his mind is telling him yes, but his body's telling him no.
Yep. And Matt said pretty much so much that he knows that he's on his last fumes, right? His body is not. It's time, guys. I hate to say it, but it's time.
It is. It's okay though. After that, like you had the hanger piece there. I thought that was fun. You did have a returning Thunder Rosa in singles action on Dynamite against One Red Velvet.
So good to see Thunder Rosa.
I love seeing Thunder. I miss her music though. The Thunder.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what this is. I'm not a big fan of it. That's the thing. You know what? I really enjoyed this match. I know like there's a couple spots here and there that, Velvet couldn't keep up just a little bit, but overall, man, I really enjoyed it, and I love Thunder. Hopefully, all the backstage heat's gone and all those things, and she can move on because like that Tijuana bomb is fun to watch, and I love how she does put out the cigarette on the back. She does a little weird. She needs to figure out that she has to have one arm up, then do it, then get the other arm. But whatevs. That's just me being nitpicky as a wrestling fan. Like I know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, this one was very solid for like the first 80%. And then kind of completely fell off the rails for a minute or two. They got to the finish, it was fine, but those botches towards the end just kind of took the wind out of the sails. Now the crowd was so excited to see Rosa win, and the match as a whole wasn't bad. Like I said, most of it was really well executed, but yeah, it got real awkward in the kind of way you don't want on live TV where you can't cut it out because like. The worst thing you can do is just stop and stare at each other. We definitely got one of those moments.
That seems like a reoccurring theme when you've been critiquing some of these women. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like, and that's this. It's those kind of things. Not everything's gonna be 100% clean all the time. You just can't stop Because once you stop, like you've taken the crowd out of the show for a minute, and you're just like, well, hold on, we got to remember our lines. Like it's not great. But Red Velvet looked really good up until things started falling off the rails. I heard, I think it was Excalibur, it might have been one of the other commentators, mentioning that her father and uncle were both professional boxers.
Every time she has a match, it's like, I'm so sick of hearing that. I'm sorry.
I had never actually heard that before.
Really?
And it's not that I'm super thoroughly watching every Red Velvet match, but I never heard it noticed. As soon as I heard that, I immediately started asking, why does that not have anything to do with her character?
A boxing gimmick?
Yeah, like that would be great for her. I think it would be good character development over I wear an apron to the ring and pretend I'm cooking things sometimes. Because like we don't get more out of the cooking. Not only that, one member of the AEW women's roster was recently on a TV cooking challenge show, and it wasn't the one that runs around doing the cooking thing. It was Willow. Like you couldn't be less of a cooking gimmick. So go be a boxer, because a character that beats ass is always over in pro wrestling.
Well said.
For what it's worth, I don't know if she can do the boxing gimmick full justice, because I don't know if she's really a boxer. But I will say this: probably the best Velvet's looked in a long while. I'm gonna yes, there are some botches, there was some rustiness. I think it was a little bit on both ends too, right? Still some greenness with Red Velvet. She looked much better than she has in a long time, absolutely. And Thunder Rosa's looked better than her past, couple of tag matches. She's still knocking off ring rust as well. She didn't wrestle for a year and a half, right? Okay. You could tell some of her signature moves weren't as crispy as they were, before. And that happens. It's okay, right? So there's a little bit of ring rust. There's a little bit of that. So I'm disregarding some of that stuff at the end there. I already said, Red Velvet, probably one of her better matches. She's definitely improving, and that's good for the division as a whole. B, Thunder Rosa is still over, period, end of sentence. Thank God she's back, right? This was just a random match against Red Velvet, and the crowd was into it because it was Thunder Rosa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thunder Rosa is just cool. And, that's the best thing you can be in pro wrestling. As long as you're cool, the crowd's going to like you.
So, I liked it. Yeah, just that's it. And a little bit more kind of repetition for both of them. Get that rust off Rosa, boom. And then she made a play there, and I like this because it's an angle that I was hoping they would dive into at some point with Thunder Rosa when she got back. Thunder Rosa never lost that title.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember that.
We all know. We know. Speaking of something that we know, Sting's gonna retire.
What? Sting?
I know. Brand new information, guys. So there was a Sting and Darby Allin promo, or Darby Allin promo, putting over Sting like they always do. Talk about how he still has it. And says that they could go for the World Tag titles if they want to, because he still got it. And Sting's like, all right, I'm in. It's like straight up Rick and Morty, you son of a bitch. I'm in. That's the vibe I got out of this. So do you feel like they're going to win it and then drop it to the Bucks at Revolution?
No.
I think they're going to win it. I don't think they're going to drop it to the Bucks at Revolution.
I'm going hot.
I think Sting's retiring one half the tag team champions.
I'm going the other way. I don't think they're going to win it. I think the Retribution match is beating the Bucks at Revolution.
See, I disagree with you, JJ, because I don't know if you know this, but Sting is undefeated.
27-0. They had to make sure they told us that on TV, which is
There's
a
no
good indicator that they're going to lose.
There's no way in hell they're losing against Big Bill and Ricky Starks. No way.
I don't know.
No way. And see, this is why you don't win the belt, sir.
What?
Because this is so obvious. They're gonna win it, and then they are going to win again at Revolution, just like Austin said. And then we're gonna have some kick-ass tag team tournament for the belts, which will of course end in FTR versus the Bucks for the belts. We already know this, guys.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far because if Sting and Darby win the belts and then Sting retires after Revolution,
Darby's
still there. So that's why I think it's going to happen, because you have an easy out. It's a retirement. It's not like partners breaking up. It's not an injury. It's, one of the greatest legends of the history of this business retired as a champ. Cool. Darby, find yourself a new partner. And this goes back to the Bucks kind of leading into the EVP thing. You actually could have a good story out of that, where that's where they pull their strings and flex a little authority they have to either make Darby defend it again by himself or something to get them the titles back, whether or not they actually win them. Like, you have outs and stuff you can do from there, and Sting can't lose. He can't.
No.
Not in AEW. This is victory lap.
Why can't he?
This is his victory lap. This is all about appreciating the Stinger, because we thought Seth Rollins killed him in 2015.
Which Sting's not going to put anybody over on his way out the door. Not a single person.
It's not him putting anybody over. It's them putting him over.
I hear
No. It's respect, man. It is all about respect. He's there to help. And you know what? Everybody's like, cool. We'll let the Stinger win, because then we get to say we lost to the Sting. Like, that doesn't affect me in any way. Beating Sting doesn't elevate me. Losing to Sting elevates me. Like, it is reverse, man. It's reverse. His rub is the fact that you got in the ring with the Stinger. That's the rub. Like, at least in my opinion.
I hear you, but Sting's also an old school guy, right? The old school thing is what, Austin? You put somebody over on your way out the door, right?
Not exclusively. Not exclusively, but that is kind of like one of those old things. In general, but that's
why I say they put over Ricky, they put over Starks and Bill, okay? They've actually got some stuff they've been doing with Starks and Bill that's actually, when we first put together, I want to tell you, like, what the fuck are they doing, right? I don't mind this now. I actually kind of dig them together. I like it. It's a good. I think that you lose to that, and then on his way out, he's got to end it with a victory. They got to redeem themselves. It gives it gravitas at Revolution. So they beat the Bucks on the way out the door, but they don't have the titles.
I think it being Sting's last match and advertised well beforehand, it's not going to, like, you can't do anything to make it bigger from that. It's as big as it's going to be. Generally speaking, you put somebody over on your way out to give them the rub and to launch them. If Starks and Big Bill defend their tag titles against Sting and Darby, it's just another defense in their reign as champions. They beat an old man Sting, and wrestling fans will be very forgiving when they want to be. To Jamie's point, nobody on the roster loses by beating Sting. Sting could beat Swerve clean in 5 minutes next week, and you would still believe Swerve in the main event of the Revolution Triple Threat Championship. It's Sting. It's kind of like we all just suspended our disbelief and believed The Undertaker was undead for 3 decades. Like, it's just one of those things. It's Sting. Sting gets to win all the time because he's Sting, and Sting's the best. And so that's why in this situation, he doesn't need to put anyone on the way out. No one's going to really get that much by beating him, but you do kind of take away from your crowd, like from the enjoyment of your fans. They just want to see Sting win a few more matches before they don't ever get to see Sting again.
Well, we're going to find
Sting
out
loses,
2 weeks.
We riot.
We're going to find out in 2 weeks, because they accepted the match 2 weeks from tonight. Phoenix, Arizona, Dynamite. That tag team title match is happening.
So how about this? I will put my title, which I'm reclaiming this weekend.
You don't know you're reclaiming this title, okay? First of all,
we all know that this is predetermined. It's all real, but it's predetermined. I not only will I put my title up, I will put $20 on that match right now. I'll put $20. I'll pay you both. That Sting will end undefeated.
I'm saying Sting's going to end undefeated.
I know. So you're already in. So like,
We would just trade each other $20.
Exactly. I mean, but we're both right. So it's really JJ. Do you want to pay us both $20?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a betting man. You know that, Jamie. I'm not a betting man, so I'm not taking that. I'm not giving you guys money. No. I am going to gloat like a motherfucker, though, when I am right.
If you're so sure, $20 is just $20.
We're never sure. Are you? You're 1,000% sure. You see, there's no chance in hell this thing could possibly lose a match.
Just like Vince McMahon's theme song, man. No chance in hell.
Well, we shall see. We got 2 weeks. We'll see about that.
All right. So let's just run through this one before we get to Edge and Minoru. So you had the AEW Trios champion, the acclaimed Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Mr. Daddy Ass Billy Gunn himself, with Bullet Club Gold, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, if you go out to Pro Wrestling Tees, there is a Bang Bang Scissor Gang shirt.
There's
already
no way
out there.
They weren't doing this to get a T-shirt. There's not a chance in hell they weren't going to do this for a shirt.
It'd be way cooler if the shirt was pink, but it is, of course, a black T-shirt.
Top Root Tuesdays.
I already looked. But they're going up against the Mogul Embassy, Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Teo Leona, with, of course, Prince Nana, our favorite hype man, the Flavor Flav of AEW. And this match ended exactly how we all thought it would, because the team that just lost the ROH Tag Championships was no way in hell going to be winning the AEW Trios Championship.
Oh, you talking about like failing up. You guys just lost the ROH 6-man titles. How about you go for a bigger Trios title now?
We can do it, guys.
So I had a similar thought, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a bit. Is the team that just lost the Super Bowl not probably the next best team in the league? More or less, like they did just lose the other trios titles, but them holding the other trios titles likely makes them one of the best trios. So it kind of makes sense that if they just lost those, it's enough logic for me not to be annoyed by it, I guess is the best way to put it.
I just thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't. It was like, wait.
But that was my first thought, was like they just lost the other ones last week. But sometimes I got to talk myself into enjoying pro wrestling.
The one little bit I'll say about this, Jamie, that I liked, I mean, it was fun. It was fine. It was a fun, acclaimed match, which is always a good crowd pleaser, right? It's entertaining. Cool, right? Of course, you had Bullet Club Gold comes out to assist for the victory, right? Well, as they were doing that, because it started with Jay White pulling the chair out of Brian Cage's hands when he was slipped the chair. He takes it, he sits on the ring on the upstairs. And after the Guns come in and power slam Nana through the ring announcer's table, they show Jay White ever so briefly with that little look in his eye looking at the Acclaimed. So, as we all know, we said last week, is all a long-term play for like a unification of trios titles, which is going to be fantastic when it happens.
Yeah, it's a fun little story for a division that's kind of been floating aimlessly for a while.
It's kind of a needless division, one could say.
And it's a division you could do a lot more with. Like, I love Jay White being in the trios division now. Jay White could be in the world championship scene, but it's a very crowded scene. I like having some regular trios, but for some reason this shouldn't work for tag teams, but they do it a lot. But for trios, like, yeah, why wouldn't any group of 3 good wrestlers be able to go in there and win some trios matches? So I would like to see them use that division more to keep people that just don't have a spot higher up in the card doing something meaningful.
That's all I got. That's all I got. Well said. All right, so let's move on to the main event of tonight, and that was Adam Copeland and Minoru Suzuki. This is my match tonight, like I said, and it's not for the technical prowess or the amazing moves or the storytelling that it was like finishing a story. It was the storytelling inside the ring, because we got to see two legends beat the shit out of each other, and it was enjoyable to all ends. That's all I got.
I mean, who had Edge versus Murder Grandpa on your bingo card? It happened. Maybe a few years after it should have happened, would have been unbelievable, but it was still great. And Suzuki's timeless. I mean, he's so much fun.
He's gonna be wrestling when he's 90, dude, and I'm here for it.
He's not far off.
Stuff like this makes me feel like AEW is like a video game in the best way possible. Like, if you're scrolling through WWE 2K and you've got all the legends downloaded, the community creations, you can throw Vader out there beating up Jinder Mahal or something like that. Now, this was way cooler than that would be, but AEW sometimes just gives you these matches that you never thought you would actually get in the real world. And it was everything you could have wanted out of Edge versus Suzuki. It didn't have to be in like a 40-minute all-time classic 5-star match. It was just a real cool exhibition of pro wrestling between two of the best to ever do it. And what a great way to close out Dynamite.
Kind of like how you're getting on Saturday, Danielson, Yuji Nagata.
Yeah.
Oh.
Counter programming what?
AEW, yeah, the fact that they can just bring in people and not have to worry about how do we fit them into our current programming? No, we're going to bring them in because they're cool and they're good at pro wrestling. So watch this for 12 minutes and enjoy it. We'll move on to some other shit next week.
Oh, yeah. So Edge wins. Shocker, everybody. And then he, of course, says he's not
an unprettier.
Yes, via the unprettier, not the kill switch.
Nope, I did like Suzuki taking the Batista bump on the unprettier. I don't know if y'all ever noticed back in the day, Batista would always like bump to a knee on his face bumps.
Yeah, he did not like face bumping. But so after that, quick little promo of Adam Copeland, of course, not done with one patriarch, Christian Cage.
Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it. I like seeing them both beat the shit out of each other, so I'm here for it. Because then we're gonna get the re-emergence of Luchasaurus, not Kill Switchosaurus.
I really hope there's still a good bit of time before they circle back to that.
Me too.
And now that they just announced the rankings, if they release them monthly, like in a month, or like at the end of February or something, you could be like, oh, Adam Copeland has moved back up to now qualify for a shot. Like you could tie this whole thing into the rankings. Just have Christian being like, get your ranking up. I already beat you.
Perfect. Because that's something Christian would do.
Yeah. Like they could be a great storytelling tool. They just kind of stopped using them for anything important.
Right. Well, and there's a good idea at the beginning. They didn't know what to do with them though. And then they got stuck in them because they were there. And it's like, they had, so yeah, now you can do stuff with it. So we'll see. So
yeah, damn you and thank you, Cornelius Multipass Punk.
Okay, so we do want to talk about the other programming that's happening this Saturday. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the Fed world. Before we get to that, because it is the Royal Rumble, it is we all have much love for the Royal Rumble. Jamie has waxed poetically about it. I have said wonderful things about my, my love and admiration of the Royal Rumble. But one of us is fully invested in the love of the Royal Rumble. And I want to get some knowledge about that because the journey to watch every Royal Rumble is still going on. So, Jamie, let's get a little knowledge about the Royal Rumble.
I would love a little knowledge. Maybe it was nestled away. Maybe it was a stash of knowledge.
Oh, I never asked you. What do you think of the new background I put for your little stash of knowledge, by the way, here?
Oh, I do enjoy the new background. It's like the luggage look to it.
Like the Louis Vuitton luggage style, right? With the mustache.
Yeah, I like to bring some class to the stash
Make
of
it
knowledge.
fancy as fuck.
There you go.
And there is nothing classier than watching 35 Royal Rumbles. Well, 36 by the time we get to Saturday in a span of the month. I do have a good update though. I am still within shot of finishing every Rumble before this upcoming one.
Ooh.
Before this upcoming one starts. I finished 2017 today. I got 6 to go before Saturday at 7 p.m. local time. So we're gonna see. Yeah. We're gonna see if I get there because I have gotten into where they become a bit of a slog to get through. There are some gems. The 2017 Rumble, you get KO and Roman in a pretty rad no disqualification match. The year before, you get Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Seth Rollins in a phenomenal 3-way. There's some bright spots. There's some fun Rumble spots along the way. R-Truth running out, pulling out the ladder, and going to grab the Money in the Bank contract, then immediately getting eliminated. All-time great spot. But the most interesting thing so far has been since I passed 2010. Because I think I finally zeroed in when WWE just kind of stopped being cool for the largest part. Once you get past 2010, it's not immediate, but gradually nothing really seems important anymore. It's kind of where they get into their mode of, we're going to tell you what's good, and we're not going to change it no matter what you think. And it takes away from the biggest advantage pro wrestling has over any other TV product. You have a live audience and a chance every week to change course and make things better. And like once you start getting past 2010, it's really in the 2014 through 2017 range, starting with Daniel Bryan being the most over wrestler on the planet and them not even putting him in the Rumble. But JBL gets to hop in from commentary and get eliminated. And also I think the Boogeyman showed up for a minute or two. But you could get Daniel Bryan. Like the fact this is the real knowledge of this. Just a nice little trip down memory road of two of the absolute biggest misses WWE has ever had. The 2014 Rumble, Daniel Bryan, who everybody wants him to win the Rumble, go on to Mania, win the title, not even in it. And they're so mad that Rey Mysterio gets booed as number 30 just for not being Daniel Bryan. And then Batista wins, who they didn't want to win out of the guys remaining. It is such a monumental failure. You think it would never be topped, but you would be wrong. Because just a couple years later, in the absolute height of we do not want Roman Reigns to be the guy, they go to make Roman Reigns the guy. And the way this lays out, they disappoint everybody twice.
In Philadelphia, of all places, by the way, which is not a town you fuck around with.
In Philly, of all places. Comes down to Roman, Kane, and Big Show. Roman eliminates Kane and Big Show, so you think he wins. They get back in and start beating his ass, and you start hearing the crowd chant as loud as they can, "We want Rusev." And Rusev pops up because he's been lying on the floor for an eternity after getting Big Show KO punched, but was never eliminated. He slides in, and they lose their absolute shit until about 15 seconds later when Roman tosses him over the top rope, and they just start booing even louder. It was so bad that The Rock had come out to make the save with Big Show and Kane. He gets back in the ring and raises Roman Reigns' hand, and The Rock also gets booed just for being associated with Roman Reigns.
I mean, I'd be like, well, that's Philly for you. I was like, no, that's pretty much everywhere back in about 2015, 2016.
Yeah, it has been interesting to see the ascension of Roman Reigns. Kind of like I was saying earlier about Hangman, sometimes you just need a couple years and get a little bit older. Roman, from when they first started trying to push him to now, just looks like so much more of a dude that's going to kick a lot of ass. And he hasn't really changed his look much. He's just a little bit older.
His changed his look enough. He got rid of that stupid flak jacket.
Yeah,
I know
the vest,
that's
like
the Shield thing, but why did that have to stick around? No, neither of the other two members kept their flak jackets. Why do you still
him
have
keeping the Shield music for like 2 or 3 years as well for some damn reason?
2 or 3 years. He had it up until a couple years ago. He had it for like 5 or 6 years.
Roman hasn't got a haircut. He's had more or less the same beard forever. It's got a little bit longer now, but he just looks grizzled, and it makes you take him more seriously as a threat. Yeah. But yeah, those like from 2010 on, outside of Daniel Bryan, who the crowd absolutely wants, you don't even really get the crowd getting super behind one guy to win it like you did in all the previous ones. It's
there was a point where they stopped doing I remember what year was it the AJ debut? Was that 13 or 12?
16.
16,
and they missed his debut because the camera's on Roman.
Right. But that's also like the crowd was popped up, but it's like it was so big, right? You know, but then they because that used to be the big thing for the longest time. You'd have like big debuts, or you'd have the call-ups from NXT when they were doing those. You'd have those like big spots, you know, and then they just whatever, we're getting away from that. Like, okay,
yeah. The Rumble back in the day, like especially through the mid 90s and even into the mid 2000s, you could kind of tell during the Rumble they were starting to elevate the next guy. Maybe not the next top guy, but the next guy that was probably going to run with the belt or be positioned at the top of the card. And going back to around 2015 to 17, where the last few I've seen, it's AJ, Rollins, Roman, Cody Rhodes is still there for a little while. It's a lot of the same guys that have just been in the top of your title picture forever. They just really haven't created new stars in such a long time.
Good point.
So I'm going to finish them all.
You got 6 left. You got 6 left and 4 days to do it. So if you watch
dedication,
that's 2 a day for the next 3 days and Saturday night. So no, 3 days. You have six left of the 3 days left. Okay.
I think I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to take a bit of a break, and around mid-March or so, I think I'm going to do the same thing with all the WrestleManias.
So WrestleMania's up.
But I'm going to give myself more time because a month is way too much, way too short of a time to watch all these like 3 and 4 hour pay-per-views.
I mean, you got to think too. WrestleMania, there's 39 of them you have to watch, and the last couple were 2-nighters.
Yeah. It's a lot, but
so that's basically 45 pay-per-views you have to watch.
Yeah, I have spent like 3 whole days of my life this month watching Royal Rumbles.
Oh, God bless you.
So speaking of the Rumble, I thought it would be fun for me to go over the betting odds because these are hilarious.
I heard of a couple of those earlier on Twitter, but yeah, what are the odds?
So they have the men's and the women's both. So the men's favorites right now, it's tied between Cornelius, Multipass Punk, and Gunther. They're both at plus 150. Then Cody Rhodes at plus 225. The Rock is next. Now you're getting kind of long shotty here. Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, MJF, Brock Lesnar, Solo, and then other notables, Okada, Logan Paul, Andrade, John Cena, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. All have lines on there.
I mean, they don't know who the surprise entrants are, so we're just going to put everybody up there.
Well, Okada is a very, very intriguing one because there's a lot of people thinking he is going to go to the Fed, even though rumors have it that AEW gave a bigger offer.
I didn't know they gave him a bigger offer. I thought he was just destined for the Fed. I thought that was what he was wanting to do, and I know AEW put an offer out there for him.
Oh, of course, it's Okada. You don't just
Well, they didn't.
let
I
filet
found this
mignon
out
just
that
go
apparently
all
Tony
on.
Khan never put an offer forward for Giulia, which is a fucking mistake. I mean, she's probably.
That's not what I heard. I heard she got an offer.
I heard.
So the story that she never got an offer came out, and then I wasn't super paying attention, but I believe like not long after that story came out, another story came out that they had made her an offer, but I think it might have come like after that story came out.
Okay. If Twitter would be more chronological, as in, please. Sometimes I get this stuff mixed up, and I go, "Oh, that's not what happened," but it's.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's the men's side. The women's side, Bailey is your favorite, and I actually agree with that.
I 1,000% agree with that.
And then right behind her is Becky Lynch, of course. Jade Cargill is number 3 on the list.
Jade's been confirmed. She's going to be in. She's going to be there in the city for
Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Liv Morgan, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Naomi. Other notable names: Ronda Rousey, Roxanne Perez, Brie, and Nikki Bella.
Oh, jeez. No AJ Lee?
No AJ Lee on here, which she's going to be in it, but I don't think they'll have her win it.
I don't know if she'll be in it.
But Giulia might be making her appearance here, and then if Giulia does, because her stuff is just done or whatever.
No, she still has to drop the in New Japan Strong title, I think, and she has a match. I want to say it's this weekend in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
But when they brought AJ in, they let AJ wrap up his indie dates for a few months after he started.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Giulia, I fully expect Giulia to. I expect her to be there more than I would AJ, honestly.
I think AJ's a toss-up. She'd be a fun surprise entrance. Probably one of those ones that's just out there for a couple minutes, and then you just get, hey, you got to see AJ, which would be cool. The women's rumble seems to have a few more possibilities than the men's. I could actually see them putting Jade Cargill over in the women's rumble. I think I brought this up. We talked about Jade Cargill some time ago. I think if you've had her in the PC and you're not entirely sure if she's ever going to be like ready to be a mainstay on your main roster, then get what you can out of her right away. And I think a Rumble win, a Mania match, and then put her on TV and do what you can from there might be their best move.
Like maybe have her go against Rhea, because Rhea can, if it doesn't work out, Rhea can just beat the crap out of her, right? And it's not out of the realm of possibilities because it's Rhea.
Yeah, I mean, also granted, this probably hinges on if you actually get Sasha Banks back or not, which I'm surprised Sasha Banks is not listed with any kind of odd.
He was no, she had an odd. She had odd. She was 1,200 to 1.
Oh, I didn't. So I missed it on the list. I didn't hear you say.
If you are getting her back, then you could move the SmackDown Women's title or whatever they're calling that one these days to someone else to face Jade, and do the Damage Control Joshis against Bailey, Sasha, Naomi at Mania.
I just think the story is just too good for Bailey to go up against Io, right?
It is, but
you're saying if they're going for the different direction. I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
because if you're bringing in Sasha Banks, then where do you put her?
Still not confirmed. Still have no idea.
Yeah, and again, all this hinges on if you're getting her. If you're not, then Bailey challenging for the title probably makes the most sense.
So, and it's very interesting in the world of Mercedes Moné / Sasha Banks. So she keeps tweeting out stuff like this New Japan related stuff, right? Her New Japan entrance reel she tweeted out earlier today, everybody that's close to the situation swears up and down that yes, WWE is not happening. That the AEW is still the most likely. It's going to be imminent. She has some Hollywood dates that she's got to wrap up over the next month, is what I've heard. Right?
Yep, that's what I read too.
So that's why she hasn't debuted in AEW yet, but that's imminent. But as we've all said, none of us would be surprised if she pops out Saturday night as entrant number 22 or whatever, right? You know, would not be surprised in the least. So I don't know.
So another thing out of the Fed, guys, I do want to just hit on. Did you guys see the news that Dwayne Johnson is a part of TKO's board of directors? And as a gift, they gave him the rights to The Rock.
I mean, that's unbelievable, which is interesting because he's already been using it for his other stuff anyway, right? Project Rock through Under Armour, you know, but now it's all him that gets it instead of a cut going to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I mean, it's kind of cool for them to give it to him, but he's still going to have a licensing deal with WWE for merch and things like that. Mm-hmm. They're going to make money off of it. He'll be able to use it for other stuff. And with him being on the board, like, it only helps the company anyway. I'm wondering if this just means The Rock's wrapping up with acting because I saw Black Adam and I think he should move on to other things.
That's ladies and gentlemen, that's on the money. Like,
I mean, he's definitely becoming more business oriented, right? You know, he's still got part ownership in the, what is it called now? UFL now, I think they're calling it the merged XFL.
Yeah.
So he's still got ownership stake in that. I said he's got the whole thing with, you know, he's got the Under Armour line of clothing. He's got his tequila that he has, you know, he's got his own energy drink, you know, and so acting, maybe once in a while he'll pop in and do a movie, do like the Schwarzenegger gig, you know, who knows. I found it more interesting, the news that was interesting, but I found it more interesting. We have some programming updates for WWE. So effective is in 2025. Effective in 2025, Monday Night Raw, TV's longest running episodic TV show of all time.
Weekly episodic,
sorry. That's what I meant. Yeah. I knew I missed a word in there somewhere.
And botch Michael Cole's line he said 3,000 times over the
Fuck
years.
Michael Cole. All right.
From the heart.
It's boss time. It's the big dog. Same two lines. One made me just punch my TV. But TV's longest running weekly episodic show is moving to Netflix. SmackDown's going to be moving to USA because Fox wanted out of their deal. Fox is like, you promised us this, and we got a quarter of those. So how soon can we get out of this contract? And they're like, it's ironclad. So anyway, so SmackDown moving to USA Network. WWE on Netflix. Thoughts?
Guess it's time to Netflix and film, guys.
I mean, it's crazy, right?
Okay. So this seems like it could be a big deal. Like, pro wrestling is, outside of like pro sports in general, is kind of like one of those few anchors you still have to cable TV. Because I mean, you throw on MTV, it's just syndicated episodes of ridiculousness 24 hours a day. Comedy Central's all reruns. It's like, it's kind of one of the few live properties you have, and one of the things that's worth either getting cable or like a Hulu Live TV, something that gets cable for.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Raw to jump to a straight streaming service, it looks like years down the road that might end up being an even bigger deal than it seems like now. I have Netflix anyway, so like, cool. I don't typically watch Raw that often, but it's nice to know I could. I'm interested to see what the product looks like around the commercials.
Oh yeah, because that's where they get a lot of their money.
So like right now, when you watch a premium live event on the old Peacock machine, you just get the random filler video packages for a random talent. Like you'll get 90 seconds of Charlotte Flair throwing some generic lines into a mic and some clips of her doing moonsaults and shit. I'm interested to see, because I think as a 3-hour weekly show that has just shorter segments and matches in general, that's going to get old real quick. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to do that, but I'm really interested to see what the presentation of Raw on a non-commercial based service works. Or more likely what's going to happen is Netflix is just going to start putting ads in all their shit, and we're going to be right back to where we've been for decades anyway.
They've been moving that direction. I mean, Amazon's been leveling up different people now. They got ad levels, right? You know, Peacock's got that. You know, they've been moving in that direction. You know, Disney Plus and Hulu and all that. It's going to be TV. It's just you pay for it, and it just comes into your. It just comes in a different way. It's basically all that it is. You know, so
Yeah.
The Amazon one annoys me the most because don't charge me $3 more to not see commercials on Prime. Just make Prime $3 more expensive. And I'll just be like, all right, whatever, inflation that happens. But now that you've separated that, you've made me more aware of it, and I'm annoyed.
I know. Well, Amazon, well, that's the thing, you know, so you got Raw on Netflix now. Baseball's going to be on Amazon for a lot of local teams. Hockey eventually too. It's just the way things are going, you know. So I don't know. And, I don't think it's as big a deal.
Hopefully we get AEW on Max before too long.
They need to make that announcement.
So you say that. I actually just read something that there is a chance that AEW could become a cable streaming hybrid show like NBA simulcast on TNT to do on Max.
That would be great. I would be able to cancel Hulu Live TV and just watch wrestling on other things.
That sounds like something that Tony type of deal Tony would want to like broker, right? You know?
I'm just wishing they would speed up the inevitable collapse of cable. I'm tired. Like let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's just get to pay for the few things you want here and there instead of a bunch of channels you're not ever going to watch. I have Hulu Live TV for sports and AEW, and that's it. I would love for them to get rid of, especially for sports, to get rid of the regional carrier models so I could just pay whatever a season to watch the Denver Nuggets all of their games. I am technically in their market in Wichita for some reason, so I can't do the league pass for them. But if there weren't cable contracts, none of that would matter, and you could just like pay to follow the thing you want to follow. Let's get to the future.
Now, you say that. How many streaming services do you have?
Most of them.
So you probably pay more for your streaming services than you did for an actual cable deal.
Probably, but I can watch pretty much anything I ever want to watch whenever I want to watch it. And
that's the thing, yes.
Yeah. The thing that annoys me with the Hulu Live TV is that if I could watch Dynamite anywhere, like I could also stream the live sports. But Hulu Live TV itself is like fairly expensive. And then you've got streaming services on top of that. And I'm not like watching any of the other shit on there. I could just get like the $10 Hulu for the shows they put straight to Hulu and just watch AEW elsewhere. So I think all in, it would still be less expensive, but it's just the it's all the shit that you're never going to watch that's on cable, which I guess streaming services have too, but I start scrolling through the channels, like none of these channels have anything good on at any time. It's just reruns of shit that I could just stream anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I have YouTube TV for and
I do too.
And it's really good. And it keeps bumping up in price, and it keeps bumping up in price, and it's the same thing. And it's like, you know, one day. Well, still though, big news. I mean, yeah. So Raw going to Netflix. That's crazy. Raw going to Netflix. Okada's probably Rainmaker in WWE. They're talking about him going to NXT.
Yeah, I think that's a great landing spot for him.
I think it'd be interesting because those who are New Japan fanboys are going to be like, because he's Okada, right? He's like, you're putting him in your developmental brand.
Well, he's got to learn how to wrestle the WWE way.
He does. You're not wrong. But that's why I said I think it's interesting. But,
so NXT is a developmental brand, but this is still the same brand where you stashed Asuka for a year, had to run through everybody. You stashed Joe for a while, had him run through everybody. Kevin Owens came in it is a place where they bring in established stars to get them used to WWE style. But also, and I think this is the more important part, to get footage of them they can use when they make it to the main roster, so you can put some promo packages together and all that. Because they can't just throw all this old New Japan shit on WWE TV when they get there. So you warm them up to your crowd that aren't familiar. You get them used to the style, and then you've got a little bit of something when you put them on your main show to just build them up a little bit more to anyone that's not already familiar, because those people are going to pop for Okada anyway.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not the right thing to do. I'm just saying, because me, I think Okada is a top guy. He goes in a top guy spot. What's he doing in NXT? But no, I understand why. But him and Giulia probably both be in NXT. I just hope they don't water them down like they did to, what was it? Saray, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and she's back in Stardom, where she belongs.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, and then God willing, Thekla comes to AEW. Oh my goodness.
What I had heard, and she's not quite done with her contract yet. She's wrapping it up.
She's got a while. Yeah.
She have a while. She's got a little bit left. Looks like a few months, I think, is what she has, what I read.
Oh.
Maybe I was off on that. But from what I read, is that she wants to go to AEW. That's like where she wants to go. She wants to wrestle Toni Storm and stuff like that. So I think Thekla would do very well in AEW.
I think AEW just needs to pick up all the established good in the ring women they can and flesh out that division a bit.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Jamie's looking for contract because he's like, she's got a little bit left. I don't know how long it is, but
the one thing I read is till September, October, somewhere in there.
Oh, I thought it was sooner.
So she's got a bit.
Summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I saw something else. So I think nobody knows.
She's not done yet, but soon.
Yeah. So a couple other little Fed roundup pieces. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Velveteen Dream is back in the news.
Unfortunately.
I saw it.
Is anybody buying it? Because I am not buying it for 1 second.
No, he's thrown up a Hail Mary to try and get a job back at WWE, but one, for the obvious moral reasons, don't sign a dude that was hitting up underage people. Even if it hadn't have been that bad, maybe he had been fired for attitude reasons or something like that. Like, we're in a hypothetical world where he was just kind of being a dick backstage or something. Even if you bring him back now, I think you have still lost everything that was good about the Velveteen Dream. I think you missed your chance to capitalize on that. And NXT has just changed so much since he was there. Mm-hmm. There's really not anything to do with him.
He's in the same boat as Tessa Blanchard, right?
Yeah.
Basically almost untouchable, right? Start off and it's like, oh no, it's bad. Oh no, it's really bad. Oh no, don't touch them with the 10-foot pole.
Yeah. There's no return you could get on bringing him in that would outweigh all the bad publicity and a lot of your fans just being real pissed off anyway.
And I'm all for people make mistakes. Sorry, change. I get it. But that doesn't mean you get your old job back either, too.
Yeah. Especially not when your job heavily relies on the public's opinion of you one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fuck that guy. That's all I got.
Jamie really doesn't like it. So, all right. Anything else you got?
I mean, Seth Rollins tore up his knee, but I think we talked about it last week. So
yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think we did.
Wait, I do need to talk about this. This is one of those things where I have some optimism for the Triple H, Nick Khan, The Rock era of WWE going forward, that maybe it will be a better pro wrestling product. Because I've said it before, and obviously I am a WWE fan. I have watched every Royal Rumble, more or less, that they've ever done this month. I've spent 3 days of my life this month watching their product, just not their current product. But sometimes, well, not sometimes, far too often, and this is why I don't regularly watch, they just make everyone on the roster look like a dumbass NPC with no sense of what's going on anywhere. I didn't catch Raw, but I did catch the Seth coming out, talking about his knee, Gunther coming out, which I'm all in for. Like, give me Gunther and Seth at Mania for that belt. Let's crown Gunther. That's cool. But WWE is going to WWE, and they're going to do things that make you sit there and wonder, what is the point of any of this? You have a gentleman named Damian Priest who has this magical briefcase that at any point in time, you can have a match with the champion for the title. Damian Priest is also a bad guy who is known to take shortcuts whenever they are available. If your world heavyweight champion is standing in the middle of the ring of a show you are 30 feet backstage away from him on, saying, I am not medically clear to wrestle, as a heel, why would you not walk down and be like, too bad, you got a match now. You going to forfeit or am I going to kick that knee out from under you? Damian Priest was nowhere to be found.
Your logic has no bounds.
Again, with the logic. Austin, we have talked about this before, my friend.
And he's in the Rumble, too, with the briefcase. Why are you fighting 29 other dudes for a shot at WrestleMania? You could just have one. That could happen right now if you wanted it.
Yeah, good point.
With the logic.
Huh? Yeah.
Well, Rumble is this weekend. We are going to do picks for it. We're doing something a little interesting because the Rumble's, 2 hours is going to be gobbled up with just 2 matches, So we're going for winner. We're also doing different points for the winner, for the final 4. But we're gonna get all our picks in. We're putting up first time we've done a WWE pay-per-view in quite a while for the belt. So this will be a good time. So belt will be on the line this weekend for the Royal Rumble. We will let you guys know next week where that belt's going to be sent to.
Yeah, good try, Ruby. Good try, Ruby.
Now for the Rumble, are we using the total match time of the Rumble as a tiebreaker? Because that could get real interesting.
We haven't really talked about what we're gonna do for that. So we'll powwow after we're done here real fast, and we'll get that ironed out. So, but we'll get picks and we'll let you guys know what we come up with next week, and also who the winner is, how we're gonna do that, and we got so after this weekend, then we're slogging towards Revolution. Pretty much, that's kind of the next big thing. So. Cards should start to come together. I would say probably the next 2, begin to come together in the next couple of weeks here. So join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will see where we go from there. So anything you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
Austin, you got 3 days.
Bro, I'm going on the Roman Reigns run, man. I'm going to hold this title till like 2035.
Bruno Sammartino Jr.
Well, we shall see. If you want to join us back next week, like I said, same time, same place. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate you guys giving us some of your time today. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down at 12 Spotfest, I got 5 words for you.
3 weeks in a row. Look at me.
New year, new me, dumbass.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Sign point.